Hey guys, my name is James Whitaker. I'm a producer, singer, songwriter, worship leader. Have been doing that for, the past decade plus in a lot of different environments. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about our new song today.
Hi, I'm Amariah. I'm a singer, songwriter, worship leader, based in KC. I've been singing, since I was a kid, but actually about like 6 or 7 years, and went to school for music. So me and Jeremy have done like a couple projects in groups, but this is kind of like our first time doing like a solo project. And this is like my first kind of taste with this, what would you call it, house? There's like so many different variations.
When you say EDM or when you talk about electronic music, you have to realize sometimes that you're talking about like probably like 150 genres, if not more. It's kind of hard to nail down, especially the type of music that I like to make and the type of, it never really starts out as one specific genre, but instead kind of feels like a synthesis of like a bunch of different feelings, and then it ends up, formulating into a certain genre. For this song, I would say it delves really into some genres called like UK garage, house music, and house music, is really driving at its core, and it really develops into this energetic focus of a song. And I think Bind Up has that energy for sure. Hey, let's actually like write a song that pairs Amaria's lyricism with my more electronic and more energetic style. That kind of was the birth of Bind Up. And so we were trying to find some time, maybe even around 2 months ago, where, we were kind of trying to fit in, an hour or two to see if there was any, magic with, writing about a certain topic that both of our hearts were aligned with, because that's really the center of, a good song is being passionate about the content. And so Amaria came to my house and to the studio that's in my house, about 2 months ago, and we came up with this Hosea 6 idea.
Yeah, so basically and we toyed with calling the song Chasm, but basically where the idea of this song started with me was this idea of like looking across this chasm and not knowing how to get to the other side, and how these seasons in our life, like God allows shaking, and it's like almost like this shaking in the earth that causes these chasms between relationships, between whatever, and it can just feel like such an impossible situation. And it can feel like that in the church, it's like looking across this chasm and looking across to other denominations or whatever, and it can feel like, how could we ever get to the other side? But it's just this idea that from Hosea 6, it's like God tears to bind up, God shakes the earth, because, there's going to be this new heavens and a new earth. And it's like God is going to bring order, not just to creation, but to our own lives. And so it's basically this idea that even like how God can bring us to the end of ourselves, where we're like, no, this is an impossible situation. Like I, in my own strength, man in his own solutions, that it's like a lot of times even our like good ideas and solutions like only cause more of a divide. God is the only one who is able to bind up, these deep wounds, these deep chasms, and bring unity in the church. And so that was basically the idea for me.
You even, when we were as the song was developing, you even brought this kind of, I remember you called it, what did you call it? You called it Amaria's soliloquy, at the end or whatever.
Not at the center, everything falls apart. Jesus, great intercessor, by your word, hold us together.
You say in this outro for the song, the centrality of Jesus being at the center of the process.
Yes.
And so you say, if you're not at the center, everything falls apart. And then you actually call into like this, you call upon the nature of God as the great intercessor who's always watching and always praying and always interceding for us. And calling upon that nature of Christ to be the central part that actually builds a bridge. all of this combined with the idea that, you know, when we were initially talking about the content, you know, I brought up this idea of John 17, which is, you know, the culmination of the high priestly prayer where Jesus is asking for his church to be unified. And so when we even get to this idea of the hook line of the song being the cry in our hearts, with the acknowledgement that we're very far away from a solution to the wounds that we've caused ourselves almost. One of the really cool things musically about this song is Amariah not just wrote the whole song, but also you know, we kind of were playing around and toying around with melodies and ideas, and she eventually landed on that melody that we have in the hook, which kind of, you know, soloed by itself can sound like this kind of hype, energetic, you know, whatever, but the way that she sings it, especially, you know, getting up into her head voice, gives it this kind of sobering experience to the music.
Through the shaking hand, the changing times, the earth is formed, a chasm.
And so the sounds and the production of this song, it was hard to escape the reality of soberness. And so there's intensity, there's a bit of grittiness to the primary sounds, like the bass in this song. As well as these low parts where we can let it breathe, and especially in that outro when we come to that resolution, being unto the glory of God.
You will get
and trying to expound on that musically, it's a challenge for sure, but I think that Amariah's writing paints such a visual picture that then you can look at that picture and say, well, what does this sound like? And we wrote the music and the lyrics for this song in like 2 hours. You know, it didn't actually take a long time, but then after that you get into these points where fine-tuning and perfecting certain sounds, finding out that the sounds you liked in the start don't really fit now, that you're kind of on your roadmap of where the song is going to end up. But the music of the song was actually really easy to formulate. And that's something that kind of is a sign to me of like a really good, not just catchy, but meaningful song.
I mean, I think that it's true. It's like what you said, Jeremy. It's very emotional. Like, it's very moving. Like, I found myself like crying listening to this song, and the chorus, you know, that cry, the chorus is a cry. We don't know when, but you're gonna do it. And so I feel like the song and the music really emulates that dynamic and the tension and the cry.
We mentioned in the very beginning of this whole process, we were talking through this idea of the miracle that it is going to be, that at the end of all things, when Jesus returns and whatnot, he's going to come back to a perfected bride. He's going to come back to a church that's made perfect. And there's only really one way that happens. It is through trial, and it is through burning. You know, it's through fire. What we see in our modern day church, which is so much divisiveness, so much, you know, embittered sides, you know, coming at one another. Jesus is going to perfect it, and it's going to be the miracle of miracles to see the bride at the end of all time be made perfect. So thank you guys. Hopefully, you know, that gives a little bit of insight into our new song, Bind Up, out now everywhere. Go listen to it. Links are in the description of this video. And yeah, give us your feedback. Write some comments down. We'll take a look at them. We can respond if we deem it necessary. But hey, yeah, thanks guys so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you later.
You know you're gonna make us one.